What is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over how to abuse aim assist in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2. In my last video, I basically listed off a bunch of different reasons why this new season is shaping up to be so good for controller players. And in case you missed that video, one of the biggest reasons is the fact that there are so many weapons in the game right now that fit the strengths of controller Fortnite. And since hands down the biggest strength of playing with a controller is aim assist, it makes sense that a lot of these new weapons are perfect for abusing aim assist with. This video is mainly going to be revolved around abusing aim assist with Legacy and Linear, so if you're an Exponential player, I would focus more whenever I talk about Linear, since Expo is much more similar to that than Legacy. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so my plan here is to basically take a look at each weapon category and then break down how to abuse aim assist with each of the viable weapons in that category. It may sound a little bit complicated, but you'll see what I mean, and just like last video, let's start with the SMGs. So the 4 SMGs available in the game right now are the regular SMG, the suppressed SMG, the rapid fire SMG, and the mythic drum gun. If you're a linear player, abusing aim assist with any of the 4 SMGs is actually pretty simple. You want to get as close to the enemy you're fighting as humanly possible, take out your SMG, basically shove it into your enemy's body or face, and then hold down right trigger without aiming in and continue to track the enemy with your crosshair if they try to move. That right there is basically the single most appealing aspect of playing on linear. When you get close enough to your enemy's body, the amount of stickiness that your crosshair gets when they try to strafe and jump is just absolutely insane. It's funny because back when Linear was first released and not too many people were using it, mouse and keyboard players would be like, I wish Fortnite would remove Legacy and force controller players to play on Linear because it's so much more balanced than L2 spamming. But fast forward a few months to right now, and I'm seeing those same players start to say that SMG spamming on Linear is so much worse than L2 spamming on Legacy. And since there are now 4 good SMGs in the game, I think you're going to start hearing that more now than ever before. However, just be aware that really high rate of fire SMGs are obviously going to be better for abusing linear with. So the rapid fire SMG is obviously godly for this, the regular SMG is really good, the mythic drum gun is insane even though it isn't quite as fast as those other two because it makes up for it with extra damage, but then with the suppressed SMG, it's definitely still solid, but it fits the linear playstyle noticeably less than the other 3 options. Now with Legacy, the way you want to utilize aim assist with SMGs is a lot less straightforward than it is with linear. For the high rate of fire, low damage per shot SMGs, so basically the rapid fire and regular, most of the time you still want to try to get into your enemy's body, don't aim in, hold R2, and track with your crosshair. It's going to be a lot harder than it is on linear since you don't get the same amount of stickiness, but you gotta do your best. However, for the lower rate of fire SMGs like the drum gun and suppressed, these are SMGs that, unlike the other 2, can still be very effective outside of point blank range. So if you find yourself in that kinda maybe 3 to 10 meter sweet spot, you want to L2 spam while firing them. The reason you don't want to do that at point blank range with SMGs is because it makes you a lot less mobile and it's too many actions to deal with at once. Even for the most mechanically gifted players in the world, imagine trying to strafe, spam L2, hold down right trigger to shoot, and move your crosshair with the right stick all at the same time. It may technically be possible, but it's probably not going to yield positive results very often. However, if you're outside of point blank range or your enemy just isn't facing you, you no longer need to put as much emphasis on strafing or jumping because you can't get hit with a super high damage shotgun shot. So I think that covers what you need to know about SMG usage, and now let's move on to the ARs, which is another great weapon category for aim assist abuse, and I also think there's a lot more variety here as well. So I think it's pretty much universally agreed on that linear is better for SMGs, but Legacy has the advantage when it comes to ARs, so let's start with that. It's pretty crazy because if you take a look at almost all the top ARs available in the game right now, they're so good for L2 spamming with Legacy. The three biggest examples of this are the Suppressed Scar, Heavy AR, and the AUG. The Suppressed Scar and Heavy AR honestly are almost impossible to use if you just shoot them normally. The bloom on those weapons gets so ridiculous after about the third shot that you can't just stay ADS'd and continue shooting. It simply won't work. You need to do the pop shotting method where you ADS, shoot a shot, un-ADS, shoot again, and then you repeat that process over and over. What that does is it resets the weapon's bloom for every shot, and if you play on Legacy, you also get the aim snap-on as well, which is an added bonus. The AUG is definitely another awesome weapon to do that kind of pop shot L2 method with, but unlike with the Heavy AR and Suppressed Scar, it definitely isn't necessary. For Legacy players, I would still probably recommend doing it because, again, you get that added snap-on, which is definitely helpful. But if you're a linear player, since the AUG has such a tight and quick resetting bloom, you can still do really well with this weapon by just staying ADS'd and continuing to fire off bursts with it. Then the final two ARs worth discussing here are the fully auto ones, aka the regular ARs and the Scars. So for linear players, this part is incredibly simple. You don't want to mess around with any kind of L2 spamming or pop shotting with any of these weapons. Just ADS, hold down right trigger, and track the enemy with your crosshair. Maybe you want to pause shooting every 10 to 15 shots or so just to let your bloom die down a bit, but that part is optional and kinda advanced, plus it's very rare someone's out in the open long enough for you to fire off 10 to 15 uninterrupted shots anyway. For Legacy players though, the way you want to use the fully auto ARs entirely depends on the situation. At longer range, you definitely want to use the pop shotting method that we just discussed where you shoot one shot at a time by constantly un-ADSing and re-ADSing. The reason why you want to do this at long range even with fully auto weapons is because at long range, enemies are going to be so small on your screen. Because of this, it's going to be pretty much impossible to hit more than one shot in a row because of bloom. So nowadays, you're almost never going to kill someone at long range with an AR anyway, but if you take advantage of first shot accuracy with each shot, you can definitely deal some solid chip damage. At medium range, this is where it really comes down to preference. I know some Legacy players that will hold down right trigger to shoot and then constantly spam L2 to get that extra snap-on to help them with tracking. But I know other players that don't really do that at all. They prefer to play like a linear player and just stay ADS the entire time. Me personally, I'm probably closer to that second group, so take that for what it's worth. I used to go crazy L2 spamming at medium range with the fully auto ARs back in the day, but back a few seasons ago, aim assist was nerfed a bit, so it isn't as overpowered as it once was. And obviously, at more close medium range, you really shouldn't be L2 spamming much at all. Just stay ADS the entire time while shooting and focus entirely on tracking. The final weapon category that aim assist plays an important role in is shotguns. Now, since no shotguns have been added or removed from the game so far in Chapter 2 Season 2, this should be more of a quick refresher than anything else. So if you play on linear, shotguns are, again, fairly simple. Most of the time you want to stay totally un-ADS'd while shooting them. However, if your enemy is just outside of point blank range or not really facing you, it's a good idea to quickly tap your ADS button right before you shoot to just kinda make the crosshair a bit smaller, and what that also does is lower the amount of pellet spread when you shoot. For Legacy players, on the other hand, you almost always want to be tapping L2 before you shoot unless the enemy is pretty much right in your face. If that's the case, don't ADS at all because it'll really restrict your jumping or strafing, but when you can do those quick ADSs, it means less pellet spread while shooting, and for Legacy players, it'll also slightly magnetize your crosshair onto the enemy's body. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. First, let me know whether you play on linear, legacy, or exponential, and then how often you try to abuse aim assist. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.